North Korea showing off a flight of new missiles at its annual Day of the Sun parade. This as tensions rise to alarming levels. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott is live for us in Pyongyang, North Korea, with the latest. And Greg, all eyes are on North Korea today.
Abby, that is not the sound and the sight of a war behind me. That is fireworks. Some celebrations tonight in Pyongyang. But earlier in the day, we heard some tough talk and saw some military might at a parade marking the anniversary of the birthday to the founder of this country, Kim Il-sung. Now, the current leader of North Korea is Kim Jong-un, and he is the grandson of that person. And he's been 5 years in the job. He finds himself eyeball to eyeball with the United States over his banned nuclear and missile programs. His right-hand man spoke to the crowds today and defiantly confronted the U.S., saying, if they stage full-out war, we will stage full-out war, and we will throw some nukes into the mix. While there was no nuclear test or missile launch to mark the date, as was feared, we did see troops, we did see military, and experts say we saw new missiles and rockets, a new medium-range missile or two, and a prototype for an intercontinental ballistic missile. The fear is that North Korea could develop a ICBM, tip it with a nuclear warhead, and target the United States.
North Korea has once again declared that it's ready to go to war with the US if necessary, but it also said US President Donald Trump is the one to be blamed for escalating tensions. In an interview with the Associated Press in Pyongyang, Vice Foreign Minister Han Sung-yeol said it was Trump's aggressive tweets that was causing trouble in the region and leading to a vicious cycle of worsening relations.
Trump says it's none other than North Korea which makes things complicated, but it's the other way around. It's not North Korea, but the U.S. which makes problems.
Han warned that if the U.S. decides to make any reckless military maneuvers, Pyongyang would not be afraid to retaliate and use its nuclear arsenal. This can also be seen as a response to the U.S. recently deciding to divert the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier and accompanying battleships towards waters near the Korean Peninsula earlier this week. Washington has said it's within the strike group's usual parameters to be in the region, but Trump has also called it a very powerful armada, putting further pressure on Pyongyang. Concerns remain that Pyongyang might conduct a sixth nuclear test sometime this week as well, to coincide with the 105th birthday celebrations of Kim Il-sung, the regime's founder. But regarding such activity, Han gave little detail away.
A nuclear test is something that our Supreme Headquarters decide. It will take place at a time and at a place that the Supreme Headquarters deems necessary.
South Korea's foreign ministry responded to Han's interview on Friday, saying his comments showcased the regime's belligerent and destructive intent. Seoul also warned Pyongyang that any nuclear or missile activity would result in significant punitive measures and that it's working with China and other nations to deal with further provocations. Meanwhile, China's foreign minister, Wang Yi, also made comments to try and de-escalate the situation, calling on all parties to refrain from threats before the situation becomes irreversible and unmanageable.
I don't know if this sends a message. It doesn't make any difference if it does or not. North Korea is a problem. The problem will be taken care of.
That North Korea's nuclear effort is the top threat to the United States. What would you do to deal with that reclusive country?
I would get China to make that guy disappear in one form or another very quickly. And let me tell you, people say,
how do you make him disappear and assassinate him?
Let me just tell you, no, well, you know, I've heard of worse things, frankly. I mean, this guy's a bad dude, and don't underestimate him. Any young guy can take over from his father with all those generals and everybody else that probably want the position. This is not somebody to be underestimated.
But why
China has control.
I'll
tell you why. Because China has control, absolute control of North Korea. They don't say it, but they do. And they should make that problem disappear. China is sucking us dry. They're taking our money. They're taking our jobs. They're doing so much. We have rebuilt China with what they've taken out.
Explosions on hillsides, amphibious landings, combat troops storming beaches. U.S. and South Korean forces are practicing for war, military drills that are defensive in nature, a Pentagon official tells CNN. The North Koreans have a different take.
They should be dealt with only by merciless strikes.
Kim Jong-un's forces did respond, firing 2 ballistic missiles 300 miles into the Sea of Japan. Analysts say those missiles have a range that can hit South Korea's capital and beyond. Kim's media arm says the peninsula is, quote, inching close to the brink of war. The U.S.-South Korean exercises are held every year, but tonight there are new concerns.
I think Kim Jong-un's feeling a lot of pressure these days. There is a need to respond on his part to what he's seeing happening in terms of these exercises over the next 6 weeks. It's hard for him, I think, to just sit still.
Kim has intensified his command posture recently, conducting the first test of a ballistic missile intended to be fired from a submarine, testing an anti-ship cruise missile. He's visited several military units over the past couple of months, telling them be ready to fight.
This is a Fox News alert. The North Korean regime appears to be moving toward a nuclear test on Saturday. That would be defying warnings, explicit ones from the Trump administration, of a possible preemptive strike if they attempt to execute the test. Saturday is the birthday of Kim Il-sung. He is the founder of North Korea. And if any day is likely to see some explosions, it is that one. It's already Saturday morning on the Korean peninsula, so the test or a U.S. strike could conceivably come at any time. North Korea's military has issued a statement warning it would annihilate American troops in South Korea, quote, within minutes if it is attacked.
Now at 11, tensions in North Korea. The communist country celebrates its founder amid fears the government is planning a nuclear test this weekend. We have live pictures from North Korea from those tensions. There was a parade earlier that we've been watching. It's still going on right now.
And this is the U.S. response, what the Air Force calls an elephant walk. 22 F-15s armed and ready to scramble from a base in Japan, 900 miles from the North Korean capital. A massive show of firepower for the North to see.
And we have been watching the very latest from North Korea, celebrations in Pyongyang marking the 105th anniversary of birthday of North Korea's late founder Kim Il-sung, the grandfather of the current ruler. President Donald Trump's motorcade in West Palm Beach. This as the Air Force released video of 22 F-15s armed and ready to scramble from Kadena Air Force Base in Japan, just 900 miles from North Korea's capital. Despite warnings from U.S. and China, North Korea Vice Foreign Minister says his country will conduct another nuclear test. When asked if North Korea plans to conduct a test in the next few days,
the nuclear test will take place at a time, at a place that the supreme leadership deems necessary. If the U.S. comes up with a dangerous military option, then the first card is in our hands. We'll deal with it with our preemptive strike. This means war.
When confirms that if they feel like North Korea is going to be attacked, they will use nuclear weapons.
Of course.
The U.S. could launch a devastating attack by celebrations of a birthday of the late grandfather of the North Korean founder. We should tell you that South Korea analysts have said that the North might use this parade to showcase its strategic weapons, such as prototype intercontinental ballistic missiles.